In a week where Prophet and Crysis have come back from the dead. We'll eventually talk about that. But anyway, I am here with Matt.
That's me.
That is him. And we are doing something.
The Gamers 2 podcast, April 17th, 2020.
Good start.
Coming at you.
Live. Not
Podcast
really. I mean,
live.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's live for us. Does that count?
Yeah, unfortunately, I am alive, so...
Yep. Unfortunately, Matt is alive. And we are... we're doing the normal.
We're doing the podcast. Just two dudes in a room with the recording equipment,
Standing in ample distance apart.
social distancing, talking about video games outside of our everyday lives.
That's true. And speaking of quarantine and video games you need to play, I might have a list here.
Of new releases? Oh my god. It's the best thing ever. New releases, people. So, if you're at that stage in life where you just want to jump off a tall building or bury your head under large stones because you've been stuck inside a house for too long. That was really dark.
Should I
Video games.
should I
New release video games.
should I move to the lighter side of that part now? Well, it's some good news, Matt, because this list that I made, that I brought up of 11 titles here, it's a little bit of a spicy list, and by that I mean it has a range from 0 to like a million Scoville. Figure it out for yourself, because this could go from nothing to everything. Depends on what you're into. So let's start with number 1. Fishing Sim World Pro Tour Collector's Edition for the PlayStation. You can't go outside, but you still want to fish? Boom.
There it is.
Easy. Number 2, Can Androids Pray? Blue. For the Switch. Yep. Number 3, Finding Teddy 2 Definitive Edition for the Switch.
This is the first one.
There's a Definitive Edition? Was there DLC? Number 4, Later Daters for the Switch. If this is the first time you've listened to the show, you probably don't remember that 2 years ago, Dewey and I brought this back from PAX because I made Dewey play it at the booth. Later Daters was a nursing home dating simulator.
Fantastic. That's what we need.
We don't. Unless specifically the two of us don't. Number 5, Save Your Nuts for Xbox and Switch.
It's too easy.
Yep. Number 6, Sniper for the Switch.
They really went hard with that one. With that name.
Creative title. Number 7, Cryo Gear for the Xbox. Number 8, Freak Out Calamity TV Show for the PlayStation and Switch. Hyper Jam for the Switch. Purrs in Heaven for the Switch. And number 11, Theme Park Simulator for the Switch.
Last Switch games, as per.
It was. There were a lot more I didn't mention, so I don't know if there was just a giant. Normally, Nintendo drops a bunch of things on a Thursday, and there were a lot listed on Thursday. But the big call there was Later Daters, because I actually know that one. Unlike the other 10 in the list I mentioned.
It's impossible. It's impossible for everyone to know all these games coming out, which is a blessing and a curse, really.
Yeah, it's a blessing for me to read that list of things I read 2 minutes ago. And at the same time, it's a curse because there are so many things coming out. And I also don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't, there's a part of me where I'm like, I don't need to know every new release because my brain will fry. Luckily, I don't include mobile games. Whew. Or 98% of Steam garbage.
Yeah, we definitely have hit a part of life where we need like curated lists.
And
Like,
that's why I curate it for you, Matthew.
exactly. But I need someone to curate something that I like. You know what I'm saying? Because we're two different people. So,
Oh, that's true.
I need to find someone out there in the world.
You know what? Here's what I'll do next week. I'll make 2 different lists.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll make just my normal one, and then I'll have a things Matt will enjoy new release list.
This is not going to go well.
Oh, it's going to go great because I already know next Monday there's a game coming out. It's going on Matt's list.
Oh, great. Shall we jump into it?
Yes, we shall, while I drink from my SodaStream bottle.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, fancy guy over here. Makes his own soda now.
Makes my own sparkling liquids.
Sparkling liquid, which could also be soda.
It could be, but I'm going to try not to have it be soda. That being said, though, I could probably use this to drink with, like, mix in some alcohol. Anyway.
Yeah. Little rum and coke. Little, that's all I got.
The vanilla vodka and Coke.
Vanilla vodka and coke, I guess.
Vanilla Coke. It's delicious, in case you've never done it. Don't you say that.
The only good Coke is cherry Coke.
Okay.
Which is bizarre, because I hate cherries, generally.
We went over this last week, I think, but... long story short, for anybody who's curious, we love fruits, but we're really divisive on a couple things.
Certain ones.
Yeah, certain things can be. Honeydew as a melon, honeydew, terrible. Doesn't need to exist. You can go ahead and keep going, though. We're going into the game stories. We're going.
You want even or odds?
I will take odds. I wanted to say, what did I do last week? I don't remember, but I'll take odds. Number 1, Crysis Remastered, an updated version of the first-person shooter from developer Crytek, is coming not only to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, but also to the Nintendo Switch. Crytek confirmed the news in a blog post published Thursday following a leak. The blog reads, quote, Crysis Remastered will focus on the original game's single-player campaigns and is slated to contain high-quality textures and improved art assets, an HD texture pack, temporal anti-aliasing, SSDO, SVOGI, state-of-the-art depth fields, new light settings, motion blur, and a parallax occlusion mapping. Particle effects will also be added where applicable. Further additions such as volumetric fog and shafts of light, software-based ray tracing, and screen space reflections provide the game with a major visual upgrade, end quote. The remaster is scheduled to launch this summer. Gotta get that volumetric fog in. It's one of my favorite things developers have ever touted is volumetric fog. I don't know. I haven't seen anything that. Just tell me to back up. I haven't seen anything that has noticed the. Is that what it was?
No, I don't know. I mean,
okay,
it's cool.
Do we know it's only the first game? Because this says campaigns. This quote says we'll focus on the original game's single player campaigns. So
that's a good point.
It's plural. It's plural of campaigns, but it focuses original game.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm assuming it's just the first one. And then when in that short little joke of a teaser that we saw,
38 seconds.
All the tweets were specific to Crysis 1.
Yeah. I want all three. I want the Crysis Collection or the Crysis Collective or whatever sweet name you can come up with. Put all three of them remastered, or even do like the Master Chief type of thing where it's like you buy the collection. We're doing 1, 2, and 3 will follow. Make the collection $40 minimum. If it's the collection of all three, 40 to 60 is fine. If it's just the first game and you price it at 60, I'm not buying it. No.
I agree. I'm curious about the engine side of it. I'm curious if they are going to just remaster the game and not go ham, or if they're going to be like, completely overhauled engine or completely new engine, and it's in classic Crysis quality of nuking computers. I would really appreciate that one.
I would love the nuking computer. Like, Crytek's just like, can you guys know what we haven't done in a few years?
Just
broken everything.
Double down on the...
Yeah. Hey, we know you guys love your new modern technology, but it also still can't run Crysis 1 optimized. Boom! And just, like, drops everything it ever could on it. I also think we're going to get a Crysis 4.
Yeah. I think so as well. I think this is
not this year, obviously,
no.
And I think this is why I think the collection would be such a large setup. And I don't know if we're going to touch this in any other news stories, but it's when the news started coming out about, like, when I saw the first Crysis tweet 4 years after their last one, I was like, why is Crysis doesn't just, like, the Crysis Twitter account doesn't just wake up and go like, Nomad, are you with us? Like, no, there's a reason it's happening. Then the second tweet comes out, and I'm like, all right, new Crysis, question mark. And then as we were kind of discussing it, and then we saw more rumors come out, and we're like, wait, a remastered makes sense. And I think I sent something to us that was, I could have seen this being an E3 announcement. I think it probably would have been on Xbox's stage, or if it wasn't on a stage, it might have been just during the E3 week, like the PC Gamer Conference that randomly happens on that Tuesday. And they were just going to be like, Crysis Remastered collection, or, they'll show the, what did I say? They would show the Crysis 4 trailer that you wouldn't know you were Prophet or Nomad or Alcatraz, whatever you are. You wouldn't know you were in the nano suit or anything until almost the end when somebody addressed you by name. Crowd erupts. Then, if it wasn't Xbox exclusive, because if it's at a press conference, I think it's Xbox. If it's not the PC Gamer one, Phil Spencer walks out and he's like, "Yes, we want to take advantage of the. Hold on. We want to take advantage of the power of the Xbox Series X to run one of the most demanding games of the last 15 years, remastered to its new levels to fully harness the power of the Xbox Series X." But, sorry. I just said they showed Crysis 4. So they would say, we're giving you a new Crysis. You guys all remember how unbelievably demanding it was for Crysis 1 to run on all these machines. It was almost impossible to have it optimized. Well, this new Crysis game is going to fully utilize this Xbox Series X, blah, 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 and just like basically just being like, oh, you guys like visual things, and then just nothing but visuals all over the stage, and everybody just, gouging their eyes out with spoons because it's too pretty and stuff like that. And then he would go, well, we understand, we're showing you this now. It might be a couple of years before you guys actually get your hands on this. But to satiate that and to help you guys cope until we get there, we're going to give you the first 3 games remastered in a collection, starting with the first one being available this summer, and then the next 2 will follow as we build to the new Crysis 4. Great PR move. And I'm talking out my ass completely because that might not have ever been about to happen. But it feels like the right time for that to have happened. And with everything getting canceled around the E3 and I'm sure the PC Gamer press conference might have been a part of that week that is no longer existing. They could have said like, all right, let's just do it and start going.
I mean, that we might find out that still was the plan, because I think this was just announced because of the leak. And that seemed to, the course of events seemed to follow that narrative, that the leak happened and then they were like...
The question is, when did the leak happen or did the tweet happen first?
The tweet happened, I think, and then like a genuine leak happened.
Yeah, it was one of those where it's like once the
sloppy website.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's like once the tweet happens, you've started the ball rolling. Like everything's going to start getting spread, and then you're at like the worst. Okay, we're gonna push the snowball downhill. Like, we're going to build it. We're going to start. And then we're just going to give it a little push. And that little push is that first tweet. But by the time it reached halfway down the mountain, they didn't know how to stop it anymore. And boom, here comes the website leak. And then they're like, all right, well, you guys like 38-second trailers? Boom, let's go.
The one thing that lends a little reinforcement to that theory is that, and we don't cover it in the news, but it was one of those rumors that I was talking to you about earlier. There's a rumor that Microsoft has Xbox events planned for May and June. So, maybe we'll find out that was the case. Who knows?
Maybe we will, and then we can add it to the list of Nate was right.
And then like that
guys, in case you're curious, that's the one thing I keep in a safe, locked away from Matt. If you ever saw that list, you would never hear from me again.
Moving on.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely moving on. Get away from me. Get away from me.
Sources have told Bloomberg that Sony is planning for a more cautious start to the next console generation by limiting the number of PlayStation 5 units it ships in the first year. Sony is reportedly manufacturing just 5 to 6 million units of the PS5 by March 2021. With PS5 targeting a holiday 2020 release, that would be the end of the console's second quarter. For comparison, PS4 sold 7.5 million units in its first 2 quarters. Sources claimed that while Sony's marketing plans for PS5 have been affected, the COVID-19 pandemic has had no impact on its manufacturing process. Instead, the reason for the limited run is partly because Sony expects the PS5's high-end specs to lead to a high price at launch, which will affect demand. Bloomberg claims that the console is expected to sell for between $499 and $549, with the rising cost and scarcity of components forcing Sony to raise the price in order to break even. Earlier this year, it was reported that the PS5 could cost around $450 per unit to make.
All right, well, a couple things. One, might as well get out ahead of it now. Even if you are saying it's not due to Corona or COVID-19, whatever. Even if you're saying it's not due to that, it might be due to that. 2, yes, your high-end specs are going to make it hard and stuff like that. 3, I think $499 is your price. I don't think $549 is your price. I think $499 is your price. And even if they are being at $449 for cost, they almost never sell at high profit margin ever on a console. Most companies operate at a loss the entire time because the console itself is not your selling point. It's your, hey, let's get everybody in, and then nickel and dime them all the way on the back end for years. Yeah. So it's a little like, limiting your consoles by 1.5 million compared to your last launch cycle is definitely possible. Like,
yeah, I don't think that's really crazy because the PS4 sold really, really well.
Right, it sold extremely well, but it also you'd be more akin to look at what did the PS3 do at its first.
Yeah,
and PS3 had much worse PR obviously around it, but the PS4 was the preferred pick going into the launch, and I don't know that the PS5 is. In terms of like the overall gamer umbrella Venn diagram buying choice. I think if you're not a fanboy of one or the other, you're probably looking at an Xbox unless you are really wanting the exclusives on PlayStation. So to say you're going to limit it down to by 1.5 million might also just mean that we're not expecting to sell that number again. So we're going to say we're bringing we're putting a limit on our production, but at the same time, you might not be thinking you're going to sell that many. Anything? No? I know you're looking up numbers for me.
I am. I'm just trying to pull it up quickly enough. The problem is that
I only could talk in circles for so many.
I know the problem is the sales numbers include a lot of the sales numbers seem to include PS2 as well. Like PS2 and PS3 numbers are together.
Oh, what the hell? Why would you? No, come on, people. Whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, you know what I'm saying. Where it's the PS3. It didn't launch at the same time as the Xbox did.
Yeah, I mean, from what I'm looking at, their numbers are like way below those. So, like for the first 2 quarters, they might have hit maybe 5 million.
So that's 5 million. If we're guessing, we'll say it was roughly 5 million.
I think that was. Wait, no, I was looking at the wrong ones. That's terrible. I'm sorry. The graph I'm looking at, just to explain to people, has Microsoft as green.
Okay.
Nintendo as blue.
No,
and
Nintendo
Sony as red.
That's terrible. No, those should be flipped.
3.5 million.
So 3.5 million. If we're guessing
roughly.
if we're guessing roughly 3.5 million on the PS3, that was 3.5 million at a $600 price point that everybody literally laughed them off the stage at.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. If I'm correct, it didn't launch the same year as the Xbox.
I think it was.
Was it
like
the year after? 2 years after?
I don't think it was that far. I think it was just.
It might have been a year after.
It was at most, I think, a year. I think,
or it was at least much more readily available. But
yeah, I think it might have been like 2 or 3 quarters.
Okay, so let's say that still 3.5 million was your first 2 quarters, and then you managed to pull 7.5 last time around. But you get what I'm saying, right? It went toe to toe with the Xbox One, which got laughed off the stage. So it was walking in as the favorite to the fight again, and won the round. This time, I don't think it is the favorite of the fight. So why not just say, we're going to limit production, when I don't think you're going to sell that many to begin with.
And that was
it's
still
great PR marketing.
That number was still including
PS2? Yeah. So I think it's good PR marketing to be like, we're going to limit these things. And all of them, everything they say might be true, but there is just that cynical in me that sees between the lines, and it says, we're not going to sell that money, so just say we're going to limit it now. Mm-hmm. That way nobody's like, oh, it failed. Instead, the message is, well, they limited production. You know, it's what it is. It's a game you got to play. And I still think, with not knowing enough about each console, like, yes, we know specs and whatever, the number one thing we still have questions about is the price point on each of you. And neither one of them are willing to budge yet. But if they're both $500, I think people probably, unless like I said, if you're a fanboy one way or the other, I think if you're neutral, you're probably still choosing the Xbox. I think. I'd think. Based on what we know now.
Yeah, based on what we know now, that's definitely the case. I feel like there's still...
Like, I'll be buying the PlayStation because I have a PC that supplements my Xbox. So
I think there's still shoes to be dropped on both sides, but the Sony shoe is going to be significantly louder. Like, it might be...
In theory...
louder, and I mean that swinging either way. Like, it might be a really good thing. Might be a really bad thing.
What basically should be happening from this point out is that Xbox is throwing toddler to, like, size 6 men's shoes the entire time. What size foot are you?
10.5.
Okay, all right. So I didn't offend you. So no bigger than a size 6 shoe. Like, they should just be sprinkling toddler to size 6 men's. Mm-hmm. Just a nice sprinkling of small things to get people going. Sony needs to drop 10.5 or larger, but they risk running clown shoe size. And what I mean by that is you could drop
9 to 11. They should be dropping.
You could drop. Well, I'm a 13, so you could drop a big shoe like that. You could drop a Shaq 22 Triple E. The problem when you drop both of those is you start rolling a percentile dice. The higher up that percent gets, you start risking that one of them is going to make a very loud clown honk when it hits. And that's what you don't want. It's just, and you're like, oh no, Ronald McDonald's shoe fell off and Sony dropped it. Oh no. So.
Welcome to Gamers 2 Podcast, where we give you strange metaphors.
Please let us know how you rate Microsoft and Sony's next announcements in shoe sizes.
Shoe sizes with clown noises, please.
Clown noises, but you know what I mean. Like a clown's foot is usually a big shoe.
Yeah, it's got the bulbous toe on it.
Yeah, and it's a comedic size, and it usually has a honk somewhere in it. And the honk is the sad trombone playing at the end of the conference that you can't have. You need to have a nice business-sized shoe stomped with authority to crush out all those small ones. You need to be the adult in the room that beats the children. I'm going to stop talking. Let's move on. Number 3. Microsoft and NVIDIA have announced that RTX-powered ray tracing is coming in beta form to the Windows version of Minecraft this week. The beta launched on Thursday, April 16th, and it brings big upgrades to lighting, reflections, shadows, and other key graphical elements to anyone using a NVIDIA GeForce RTX graphics card. In addition to the Minecraft ray tracing beta launch, NVIDIA also announced that its RTX support for the game will include DLSS 2.0. Short for Deep Learning Super Sampling, it's a relatively new machine learning powered resolution enhancement technique from NVIDIA that produces sharper images at higher frame rates. And I almost turned into Captain Kirk.
Better than Cerny.
I can't do the softness of Cerny like consistently, but I can definitely start just pausing in the middle of my sentence like Kirk.
Yeah, that's fair.
You could shade that NVIDIA is doing art. No, I just, Anyway, the thing about that is, can you imagine buying an RTX card to play Minecraft?
It is absurd. That being said,
the ray tracing update looks pretty cool.
I jumped into the beta.
Oh, okay, all right.
It is hands down the first time that I saw, in quotes here, ray tracing.
I actually saw the effects of it.
In practice, and I was like, I get it. I fucking get it.
It's one of those where it's like, Minecraft, joke. RTX, joke. Both very serious things. And Minecraft actually, because it's simple, has a very effective way of showing it off.
Yeah.
Versus something like Battlefield, where there's so much other things going on, you won't truly get the effect sometimes. Because there's just going to be explosions everywhere going, and you're just going to be like, I have too much going on, and that sniper sees me, run away! But instead, you're just like watching a creeper blow up, and you hear like Beethoven's Fifth, and it's just this beautiful thing as you watch all the light rays come through trees, and your entire home and city got blown up by that green fucker. But it's okay, because it looks great with the RTX on. Except that, what's the 2060?
2060...
500? 400?
No, they're drop.
400?
Like 320-ish?
Okay, so either way, $320 to play Minecraft on an RTX. It's a lot. It's the same joke we always make, like Dewey building a gaming rig for, I don't know what his cost was. I'm going to assume it's roughly $1,500. Building that gaming rig and then playing Binding of Isaac, which is not graphically demanding in any way. It's also funny to me that they're only saying it for the RTX cards when I thought ray tracing got rolled back into GTX settings as well. But
it did, but the problem is they can't, like, even on the RTX cards, it straight up tanks the frame rate.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you know,
there's so many light rays.
$400 graphics card, and you're getting you're getting 40 to 60 frames per second in Minecraft. Yeah, there you go.
That hurts to think about. Is the ray tracing also the 4K update? Is it 4K ray tracing?
It's the same update. It's the same beta.
Okay. Because that 4K update is also like, when you see high res Minecraft, it doesn't look like the same game at all.
No. The other thing, though, is the DLSS is the one that I think is way more important, that is getting, doesn't get the same fanfare. And that's where I think we're going to get, like, the next gen cards, when we get that big jump in performance again. It's going to be from DLSS and whatever AMD calls their version of it.
It's the stuff that is behind deep faking.
Yeah.
In case you're curious.
Yeah.
DLSS is basically what allows you to, I shouldn't speak as an absolute. I believe you can leverage DLSS to make fake people. If you've ever seen those accounts where they use the AI to fake generate a person that doesn't actually exist, but it just generates a face, and you're like, yeah, it looks like a person that exists, but they don't.
It's kind of like the same idea as like when you get a brand new cell phone from like Google or Apple, and you're like, why do the photos look so good with this 12 megapixel camera?
Yeah.
It's because of their algorithms for...
They fill in everything and readjust it on the fly, and you're just like, that looks better than I see it. And you're like, well, it's because it is.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that.
That is not what those HD glasses in those infomercials do, people. Just so you know, they don't do that. They are scams. They are scams. Believe it or not.
ESRB has introduced a new label for loot boxes. The label reads, quote, "In-game purchases includes random items," end quote. The new designation will be assigned to any title with an in-game offer to spend real money on something when players won't know exactly what they'll receive for their money. Loot boxes.
You gotta get them boxes of loot, man. Loot boxes are a disease, man. Can you believe? No, it's ESRB still doing work.
Ain't no Peggy 18, but
God, I so wish they developed the same glorious opening. Peggy 18, like, so good. Capcom has announced that their Resident Evil 3 remake shipped more than 2 million copies in its first 5 days after release. The publisher said nearly half of the Xbox One, PS4, and PC game sales have come digitally.
Transitioning.
I believe it, and also shipped doesn't mean sold, so...
I think that's the weird part, though. In this context, it might.
It might, but it feels like it's super close to doublespeak.
Yeah.
Where like, listen, they shipped, and by the way, half of the sales were digital. Mm-hmm. And they're like, so we shipped 2 million. We definitely didn't sell 2 million. But hey, half of the stuff we did sell is digital.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, what did you sell? Did you sell the 2 million, or did you sell 1 million, shipped 2 million, and half of the 1 million, so 500,000 was digital? It's like, you can make numbers say anything you want if you just cut them all up right. Take that from sports stats. You can just slice numbers to say whatever you want. Or statistics in general, I guess. They're all made up.
Good old coronavirus is forcing us to our digital sales, I think, as well.
Well, I mean, yeah. Except for the Animal Crossing Doom time when stores were giving them out early.
Major League Soccer is the latest sports organization to move its games to a virtual format, launching a month-long tournament starring both professional athletes and EA Sports FIFA 20 Global Series esports players. The tournament, called EMLS Tournament Special, will pit 16 MLS teams against each other, pairing an actual member of the team with an esports player for 2-on-2 matches, according to Polygon. MLS will air 5 matches over the course of a month, with games airing on FS1 and Fox Deportes, the league's broadcast partners.
Cool.
Yeah.
Down for more sports, just trying out this digital stuff. The 2-on-2 is actually a really interesting concept as well. Yeah, I don't know if you've played FIFA.
Not recently.
I'm going to just stop there. You haven't played FIFA, but playing.
Well, fuck you, buddy.
When's the last one you played?
I don't know.
All right. So
I don't know. I think it was like.
But playing a game like that, or Madden, or anything, hockey, anything like baseball is not the same, because you wouldn't be actively even if you're actively controlling 2 people, you wouldn't be involved in the play at the exact same time. But hockey and football and soccer and all those things, where you are actively having to move around and do things like together, can be much harder with 2 people than it is with 1 person, because 1 person, you have full control of everything that's happening. 2 people adds in a variable where you're like, you have to hope you guys are on the same page for what you want to do to execute.
I feel like you'd almost be better off being like, all right, I'm going to play defense, or like you'd have.
If you knew you had a strength versus the other one, it would just be better, yes, to be like, I'm going to handle this part, you got that part.
Yeah.
And then the problem sometimes is FIFA, even though I pass it and you're trying to stay on defense, I might pass it to a computer and it might make you take control instead of giving me control of that person. So sometimes it's 50-50.
Yeah, it's weird.
But it is, the 2-on-2 is definitely, it's an interesting style game. A little bit more involved maybe with kind of mixing the communities maybe of like, hey, let's take a pro player and put them with, just see how it is.
In that same thread, obviously Formula One I follow it, and all the drivers have started to get their sim setups, and one of them's Vettel, who's an older guy now on the grid.
Well, yeah.
And he just got his sim set up this week, and his teammates trying to drag him into races. And then, like, I follow everyone on Instagram, and they're like, like Roman Grosjean, another older guy, just got a sim set up.
They're all there. They're all starting.
It's a weird world. I think at this point, we could do the whole grid, I think. Like, the whole Formula One grid could just play esports.
It'd be entertaining. The show, MLB The Show's MLB Players League, has been, they stream their stuff. I think the individual players themselves can stream it whenever they want because they play, I think, Monday through Friday. But the actual MLB has been broadcasting them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. And I've watched a couple just to like kind of see and whatever. And it's so funny to watch the pro players that obviously some of them don't spend all that time with the game, like the people on the subreddit or myself or whatever might. And when you're watching the game and you just see some of the dumb fielding errors that are in the game, like somebody gets caught in an animation where they're clearly walking over to a ball, but the game is like, you're not catching this ball. We're just going to put you in a bad animation because we've already determined based on our random math or whatever that you're not making this catch. So it slows them into an animation where they know they're, and ball just goes right past them. And I'm just like, man, that sucks to know exactly how that feels. But
and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And they're just like, I don't understand what's going on. The game doesn't let me move my character. I was like, it's because it already determined you're not making that catch no matter what you do. And it caught you in an animation and didn't. And it's just so funny to see certain things like that. And I'm like, yep. That's what happens in video games, man. And then also some people just start bitching and whining. And I think that's so funny to me.
I just randomly thought of this, and I thought you'd find it entertaining. As I was looking for games to play the other day, and I was looking up a list of like the best single player games from like the last year. And on the list, and there was like 15 games, something like that. Football Manager.
It is.
I was like, did not expect to see that on here.
It can suck your soul. And just, we're just going to take a little bit of, whoop, there it goes. And now you are a soccer manager. Plop, there you go. I actually watched somebody streaming it the other day, and he had taken over a team I don't, like, I know the name because I've known other people to take it over and try to do. It's like a very, very bottom tier English team. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm just going to try to move this thing. And I was like, all right, man, power to you. You understand this way more than I just don't want to. Nope. Number 7. Speaking of sports, WWE 2K21 may be canceled, according to Justin Leeper, who previously wrote for earlier WWE games. He said on his YouTube channel, quote, I have heard from reliable sources, and I truly believe that WWE 2K21 has been canceled. There will be no game this year, end quote. He also pointed to the fact that this year's WrestleMania event, historically used as a platform to announce or tease the next WWE game, featured no such news. Although he did hint that, quote, a palate cleanser, end quote, is on the way. Quote again, I have heard also that there is another WWE game this year that 2K is publishing, a different kind of WWE game from a different kind of developer that's not Visual Concepts, end quote. So here's a couple things I can think of. 1, 2K20 sucked and was littered with bugs and raked through the coals.
Yep.
With how bad it was.
Yeah, he talked about that, but
so why would you make another one? It fell into the same problem, except it doesn't have a direct competitor, but it fell into the same problem that NBA Live did. NBA Live was just trash and couldn't compete with 2K. So it just went the way of the dodo. Gone. See you later. Bye.
Extinct.
The problem then is also, I don't know if you saw any of the WWE news, not that it's related to the video game, but they let go and furloughed some people and blah, 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 just like a bunch of talent. It was one of those where it's like, shitty time to do that, but whatever happens, and it sucks for those people, but I understand. But I don't know if that's necessarily related to this at all. They wouldn't be hand in hand because it would be a development studio and the production company.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're like feeling weird during this Corona time to not want to do something like that, or they don't want to put the people in the studio. All those things. There's probably logistical nightmares in trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, a couple of years ago, there was another wrestling game. I think it was WWE All Stars, maybe. It was much more
arcadey. Yeah.
And I could see them doing another game like that instead of simulation. They try to do another. When he says that there might be another one coming, I could see that happening, where they go back to having a more arcadey style of some type of wrestling, because then at least having a bad game might be more okay.
A simpler game, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit more.
Like, let's just straight up have the fights and not try to do these 19-hour story logs and have people falling through the floor and everything else that goes wrong in that game.
What a mess. Gamescom has joined the list of industry events that won't be taking place as usual thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. Had a brain fart there for a second. Just
COVID.
Had a stroke. The German government issued a blanket ban on major events until August 31st. Organizers acknowledged the ban would apply to Gamescom, but added that certain functions of the show would be moved online. All paid tickets will be automatically refunded in the coming weeks.
I like that they acknowledge that it would affect Gamescom. Like, what? Yes, obviously. Large meeting. What?
What?
We choose to recognize the ban from Germany. We understand we are no longer functioning. Like, what were you going to say? We do not recognize the power of the German ban, and therefore we shall function as normal. Right up until they'd all just walk in and go, "Get the fuck out of here! What are you? No!" I don't know. It sucks. I'm interested. I assume it's probably gonna be like maybe press conferences or demos, or because sometimes they still had conferences or like reveals and stuff. So I can see those just going online. Number 9, PlayStation has launched a coronavirus support initiative. That's I have a joke immediately just for the title of that. Are they supporting coronavirus? That's so weird. No, clearly they're not. Coronavirus, I think it should be relief support initiative designed to keep people indoors and indie studios in business. Announced by PlayStation President Jim Ryan, the Play at Home initiative includes a $10 million creative fund for indie developers experiencing financial difficulties as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak. PlayStation is also giving away Journey and Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection to all PS4 customers for a limited time between Wednesday, April 15th and Tuesday, May 5th. And that coincides great with the April game of the month being Uncharted 4. Yes.
Thieves' End.
It is that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
So you got all four Drakes.
It's a good series to be stuck with, having to play. Story driven.
Yeah, it's a good thing I'm not going to do it, but hey.
You fucking dirty bastard.
The best part is I can redeem the first one, but I can't redeem the second one. Like I can redeem Journey and the collection. I'm pretty sure, but I can't redeem. I think I can redeem those, but I can't redeem the other one because I don't have online.
Oh yeah.
Because I just don't care. I know
Journey's
I know you own it, but I never
fantastic.
played Journey either.
Journey. All right, the Thieves.
But I was super late in the PS3 cycle, and I literally only wanted it for the show. So you were 50-50 on Thieves' End, I think.
Thieves' End I liked. It's just that 2 is still my favorite.
Right? Yeah.
Journey. I could excuse. Well, it's not that I could excuse the Uncharted collection, like all 4 of them, because they are great games.
Right.
But it's a big time commitment.
Yeah, Journey's what, 2 hours?
Journey is like, I would say 4 to be safe.
4, okay.
But like, it's good and it's relatively short, and it's not like there's no dialogue. It's just music.
It's literally walking around.
Yeah, but well, kind of like gliding around.
Whatever, desert.
It's fantastic though. If you ever like, I'm kind of bored right now. It's good. It's a good little.
Have you ever played Abzu?
I have not.
Same thing, but you're in an ocean.
Yeah.
Except that randomly people don't show up and walk with you or swim with you.
There's a mobile version of Journey, I guess.
Yeah, I think there is.
A mobile game that's kind of like Journey that Samantha picked up and started playing, and she got irritated because another player, like grabbed her and was like taking her places, and she's like, oh, "Let me go!" Like what? Like, I was like, "Oh God." Number 10.
If only you knew.
Yeah.
If only you knew griefing the way I know griefing. I once saw my village get destroyed. Matt let a creeper back into the town square.
I didn't do nothing.
I know. Then that technically never happened anyway. Our defenses were very sound. Trees were kept free of spiders. Lights were everywhere. And Matt was a dirt hut in a 4x4 grid because he was underneath the earth the entire time.
Tyler and Dewey just blew up with a bunch of TNT?
No.
We had...
I wasn't hosting that one then.
You weren't hosting it. I think I was hosting it.
Oh,
but you had a pretty sizable house. It had the fire on the roof.
Oh, do I remember that? I don't know if I remember.
Anyways, we had like a little town square.
Yeah.
And I had like this little shed that had a bunch of chests in it. And I just because I was going, I just kept a bunch of shit in there.
Right.
And one of the chests was like fucking crammed full of TNT from me, like, finding it or making it or whatever.
Yeah, especially when you're down in the mines, you can find it in chests all the time.
And it was there forever. Like literally forever, which kind of surprised me because like I would have assumed someone would find it and do something malicious with it.
Yeah.
Well, that ended up happening. Like Dewey and I think it was Dewey, like piled
Probably.
it all up in the center of our village and then lit it, and it like blew a fucking huge hole. Obviously, in the center
I probably wasn't on. I probably wasn't on. I don't.
You
remember,
weren't. I don't think you were on.
I don't remember that because the last one I remember was the one that I hosted where I dug myself into the side of a mountain for my room.
Mm-hmm.
You built a dirt hut and then disappeared. And then eventually you and Sam were trying to build a castle.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Tyler built his house in the trees.
And then Dewey dumped a bunch of water on it or something.
Dewey did something to break it and piss Tyler off.
Yeah, I think he poured, because it was like a trail, and he like poured water in such a way that I think it flowed all the way down.
Because Dewey built his house on top of mine.
Yeah.
Dewey tried to build like a stone castle above me, like just a pillar. And yeah, poured water to try to do something, and it somehow broke Tyler's shit. Because he had the house in the trees. He had built like that little log cabin over there.
Mm-hmm.
I had built another town square, fountain in the middle, nice little fishing area, cobblestone walk around. I had the storage setup all going,
mm-hmm.
and I had a farm. I had a farm of both crops and pets.
Yeah.
And then Kristen built her house
mm-hmm.
near that. And we all had agreed, like, we won't destroy Kristen's house.
Yeah. She's, like, safe.
Yeah. She's like, she's the one that's safe. And then Dewey flooded or lava'd Tyler's house. He might have lava'd Tyler's house. And that just ruined everything. That was the one Kenny built the treehouse in.
Yep. Yeah.
And I had a secret door underneath mine up to his house. It was a good time, man. Yeah. Minecraft.
Good stuff.
You guys remember Minecraft? Anyway, let's continue on the actual news train.
Niantic has been tweaking Pokemon Go in an effort to make it more playable from home during the COVID-19 pandemic. And Wednesday announced one of the biggest changes yet. Raid battles will be accessible remotely. The company is adding a new item called a remote raid pass to the in-game store, letting you play raids that appear on the app's map or nearby page without having to go to the physical location.
Good idea.
Good idea.
Unfortunately, I wish my map range was increased by like 10 miles. Because there are no gyms within sight of me, so I still can't raid. Yeah. Oh, well. I think there's a lot of other changes than just that. There were a lot of things that were in that. upcoming update notes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go through all of them, but there were a lot.
Yeah.
The one thing I wish that they had changed about this was if a friend gets into a raid, they can invite other friends. I wish they had just said that instead of like, oh, if you can see it, because like, yeah, obviously I can't see it, but I have friends that live in a city that might be near one that could at least pull me over and invite me to that.
Yeah.
But now I'm just stuck still not doing it. So
what about the what's this nearby tab or whatever?
It like shows me that I have 2 stops nearby and I can see like Pokemon nearby, so I can see that stop and that stop. Mm-hmm. But that's as far as I can see. The closest gym is 2 miles away. So you can only see nearby as like whatever that is. I don't know, 500 feet, 1,000 feet. So it's like I can only see that. For me, the closest gym is it's over 2 miles. It's like 5 miles away.
So they still want you to get out and about. They're just saying, let's just stand farther away from each other.
If you're in a city, it's probably great.
Yeah.
But if you're not, you're still screwed.
Yeah.
Essentially. So. Oh well. Let's move on to number 11. Nintendo's latest firmware update for the Switch adds a feature oft requested by accessibility advocates. Switch firmware version 10.0.0 adds the option to remap 17 of the system's buttons to perform any of the 18 button functions. The home button cannot be remapped, but the right and left analog joysticks can be swapped for one another, and up to 5 custom configurations can be saved in the system for users to swap between. I like it.
Yeah.
I like a system-wide button remapping ability instead of leave it to the game.
Yeah. For sure. I like it. 'Tis dope.
As things go the way of the PC and configurations become a thing, wait for the Xbox Series X and PS5.
We shall see.
Dun dun dun.
Earlier this week, Amazon France listed PC versions of various Sony games.
My favorite part, before you even continue.
Yeah.
What are we, last week? Or 2 weeks ago when we were discussing who's great at leaking shit.
I think it was
last week. Those random stores in Germany. France is always up there, and Walmart Canada.
Yep. Amazon France.
I can't. I was trying to make Amazon into French. Like Amazon, but I can't do it. So just continue. Ignore me. Ignore me completely.
Amazon France listed PC versions of various Sony games, including Bloodborne, Days Gone, Gran Turismo Sport, and The Last of Us Part 2. The retailer also listed a PC edition of Sega and Atlas popular RPG Persona 5 Royal, which is currently exclusive to PS4. Both publishers have told IGN that these were errors by the online store, with a Sony representative... oh my god, it's happening. The Sony representative stating, quote, "The listings are not accurate. We have made no announcement to bring those games to PC," end quote.
Aw, shit.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you'd say it was an error.
Yeah.
At what point are you going to be like, no, we know it's happening, and we're going to force you to do it. We'll force you to do it by listing it on your site. Number 13. Games Done Quick, or GDQ, an organization that raises money for charity with speedrunning events, as Nate has pointed out twice a year for the last 2 years, is hosting an online-only speedrunning marathon all weekend in support of COVID-19 relief. The event, titled Corona Relief Done Quick, or CRDQ, is scheduled to run through Sunday. CRDQ will be raising money for Direct Relief, a humanitarian aid organization. You can watch the event on Twitch. Good for them.
I know what you're all about. Your game's done quick.
Well, I'm about helping people and playing games while doing it.
Yeah, you
and
freak.
Doing it fast.
You got some weird kinks, all right?
Yeah, man. Just give me that helpful people thing. I'm over here tapping my vein for help.
It's weird.
Imagine just walking around being like,
help me.
I want to watch you help people. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like the charity work you're doing. Oh. At a blood drive, just getting like really pumped up at people. Like, yeah, love to see this work. Woo! What are you? You're doing double platelets? Woo! Actually, that might be that might be a great video to make.
Yeah.
Right before they kick me out. Because I just show up uninvited. That's the thing.
All right, into the silly news. NASCAR driver Kyle Larson has been fired by his team and dropped by his sponsors after he said the N-word during a sim racing stream over the weekend. It's the latest example of how the pandemic-inspired shift to online racing is still resulting in real-world consequences for some drivers. Just last week, NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace, that's the most NASCAR driver name I've ever fucking heard. Bubba Wallace.
Y'all see my boy Bubba Wallace out there? He take that ball, take the left, and he drive that forward run hard.
Exactly, that right there.
That's you're welcome.
Bubba Wallace lost a sponsor after he quit a sim race following a virtual crash. He rage quit, and he lost the sponsor.
What a silly grown man. I found this hysterical.
Yeah.
For the level of stupidity that you had to be to think that this was any different than anything else. And you're not allowed to say that, so why would you try?
I just love the fact
some people saying he wasn't racist, and I was like, well, I don't know how that works, but okay. But also, like,
I'm appreciating, like, we're seeing more of these people. So,
right.
like, it's more of a chance for them to fuck up.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you realize you're live streaming, and the only time the mic is in your mic is now always in your face, not just when you have to say every sponsor in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was really pumped by our boys over at Bud Light, and they really helped me fuel this car today, and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, and then you're just like, oh, something, man, I can't believe I really hate those. And I'm like, whoa, hey, whoa, what is wrong with you, you psychopath? And then you have somebody rage quitting. Like,
rage quitting on air. That one happened. The NASCAR races are aired, so
yeah, like the rage quitting, I can get behind a little bit more because it's probably the better alternative of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, sorry, not probably. It is the much better alternative than the two. But you're still doing a professional. Like, they're taking this whole thing seriously. So you're still supposed to act like your professional self and not just like. Can you imagine if you did that in a real race? You're just like, nope. You know what? I'm done with this. He just pulled into the pits and sat there.
It's definitely more excusable because I could see how it would be hard for someone to make that transition when they're not used to it. You know what I mean, like, they're driving for recreation via video games, and now all of a sudden it's a part of their career.
Number 15. Also, you're welcome for the most sports news you've ever had on this podcast.
I know, man. This is ridiculous.
Other than when Matt and I used to wax poetic about F1 for like 10 minutes and nobody loved it. Number 15, Ubisoft has teamed up with the co-writers and co-directors of the 2018 Amy Schumer-led comedy I Feel Pretty to develop a film centered on senior citizens entering the world of esports. The film, which is currently untitled, is based on a 2019 article in the Wall Street Journal. The next generation of competitive gamers is over 60 by Laura Parker, which focused on a group of seniors who formed a competitive esports team. I recognize the team and article that she's talking about. It might have been CSGO, but I'm not positive. That might have been the game they were playing.
Ubisoft movie.
It's right up their alley. Yves Guillemot takes advantage of the scene. That was not French in the second part of that. His name was French, and then it turned almost to like Austrian. He's on the move. Like, all right, that's French. Baguettes and beignets and berets. Is that French? Yeah, it's French. Croissant. There. Snails and escargot there. All right, I'm good. That's all I got for French references.
Finally, we watched some trailers, some
one
video
we already
game.
Yeah, one we
trailers.
already talked about.
We talked about Crysis. It was more of a teaser.
Yeah, it's not really a trailer.
There was a trailer for the next Dark Pictures game, which is entitled
The Dark Pictures Anthology for everybody that forgets.
It is titled Little Hope. Looked like a Dark Pictures game. Good stuff.
Was it just titled Little Hope, or was there the town of Little Hope?
No, it was just Little Hope. It was Dark Pictures Anthology Little Hope.
Oh, I thought there was maybe like a qualifier on it. No, either way, looked like a Dark Pictures game.
The premise is
almost Salem-esque.
Yeah, witchcraft. I think there's four or five characters, and you're stuck in a town that's surrounded by impenetrable fog.
I wanted to say 5. And it looks like 2 of the older characters we've ever seen out of them.
One's a professor, and then the rest are students.
What? So there were 2 older people, though. Was the professor the woman?
Yes. I'm assuming yes.
Okay, because there was the older guy, too. And the professor that was if the professor's the female, she was around with, like, the kids more, so that would make sense if she was, like, leading them around. But that one guy looked older as well, so maybe he was at the town, like, met them to, like, kind of tour it type of thing.
Maybe. I mean, he could still be a student, I guess, technically.
He could be, yeah. But normally they're, like, teenage horror movies.
Yeah.
And then these are the 2 of the older characters out of the 3 games I've seen of theirs, these are the 2 oldest characters we've seen, which I just thought was an interesting spin. Maybe the next game, because I think it's supposed to be a trilogy, so there should be one more. Maybe we'll have children.
That'd be creepy as fuck.
It would be. Well, I say children as playable characters, not children as terrifying NPCs that run around possessed, because I think that's pretty much going to happen in this one.
Yeah, but I feel like, can you do a horror game with kids that are playable that get murdered horribly?
It's Stranger Things, but like murder them. If you don't show the murder,
True.
If everything's just alluded to, you just watch the kid get taken by the creature, and then you hear sounds that sound like he's probably murdered.
That's fair.
There might be something where it's like the same way that certain some like movies and TV shows won't show you murdering the kid. Like, all right, we clearly killed the kid, but we're not going to show you.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just show me that you killed the kid. Because maybe that kid deserved it, you know?
Maybe
Maybe Piggy deserved it.
Goddamn younglings.
Piggy. Lord of the Flies.
Last, but surprisingly not least.
Oh, interesting.
Gears Tactic.
Yes. Gears Tactics.
Gears Tactics. Plural.
Yeah, double positive. It actually looked... saying it actually looked good is not a dig at what I thought it was going to be. But the trailer itself was cut and presented in a way that was much more appealing to me. Because I was not expecting the trailer to be as good as it was. Yeah. The game itself is exactly what I expected. But the trailer, it was a good trailer.
Did a good job. Props to whoever cut the trailer.
I normally don't have... A lot of times I normally don't feel one way or the other on a trailer. Like, I'm not truly like, really good trailer. Like, solid job, woo. And this time I was like, I'm actually like intrigued, except I know immediately I will hate this game because I'm so scared of the XCOM thing where I'm a foot away from somebody with a shotgun. It tells me I have a 99% chance to hit, and then I miss, and my rage just starts building. Like, if you ever want to watch my blood pressure, I can't even speak getting angry about it. My blood pressure go through the roof. Catch me playing an XCOM game, I will lose my mind.
We'll have to try that sometime.
I rage quit them. I stopped. I was in XCOM 2. I finally got out of the first mission after like 2 attempts because I kept getting 90% chance misses, and I was like, that's it. I just, nothing about this seems appealing right now. And so I just quit. I quit.
Don't be a quitter. That's it for the news.
That is it for the news. So now, keeping in tradition of doing this episode with our previous beginning segment at the end, what have you been up to in the last 7 days? Also, for 12% battery, that tablet made it till the end. I need to remember to charge it for next time.
I haven't been doing much. I've been having a slow week, mostly just sitting on the couch.
Well, you had a busy 2 weeks up until now.
Yeah, I mean...
Half-Life Alyx and VR.
I don't really have direction, so it's kind of a little different. I'm struggling.
Once Matt's allowed to do whatever he wants, he does nothing because he can't choose a direction.
I seize up.
I'm frozen with choices.
Part of the issue, my issue with the VR now is a logistical issue.
Okay.
like it was practical to have the VR in the living room because it was convenient and it was one game really. But it's not. If it's going to be the permanent solution, then I have to come up with something that's more portable. Which is kind of where the issue lies. Like, if I'm going to do somewhat of a room scale thing, it's got to be in the living room. Got to shrink the computer down, and I'm just waiting on some PC case reviews. Really, is the
now there's that. The one NZXT case, right? That's all the rage right now.
Yeah, the H1.
My buddy ordered one.
Yeah, did he got one?
Yeah, $300 something.
Yeah. Which is actually a really good deal.
Well, it includes the CPU cooler and stuff like that for it.
So, all-in-one 140 millimeter cooler, I think.
I think so.
Power supply, and it comes pre-wired, which is like...
I'm pretty sure it's coming this week.
Yeah, it's essentially... That was on my short list, but one of my issues I'm having... There's a lot of nice cases, but they're not easily accessible, which is kind of the issue.
Does your VR not have the option for a wireless mod?
No, it doesn't.
Does it have the option to just make longer cables?
It's not a cable issue. It's
really?
No, the cable's long as fuck. It's just it's like I'm either gonna be resigned to playing in seated position in the office, or I need to make the PC more portable, more convenient to move around and smaller and take up less room. I
guess the question is, if the wire is long, why does it matter where the PC is?
It's not that long.
That's what I'm saying, though. If you got an extension if you got an extension cord, like just a longer USB connection, would that not solve the issue for the most part?
Theoretically, it would.
In terms of instead of buying another case and doing that.
Well, the case, it has to happen anyways because I've outstripped my case's capacity to
because you swapped parts and stuff too. Yeah.
So when I'm playing like when I was playing Half-Life Alyx, I had to pop the side panel off because it wasn't cooling. Yeah, it wasn't capable of exhausting enough heat.
You just gotta put more fans in it, man. No, because you'd rage. I know you'd rage.
Yeah, well, it's loud as fuck right now.
Yeah,
and I don't have like it's. There's no ventilation on the PC case.
It's always funny because it's louder than mine, and mine has 4 fans in it going constantly.
Prior to this, it wasn't.
Or technically 5, I guess, if you count.
And then a fan went bad, and I didn't want to replace it. I just let it do its nasty noises, and then...
Do you need a spare fan?
No.
I have fans.
I don't have... It's a combination of the case doesn't have any ventilation. It's not well designed for this situation. And the supplied CPU cooler from AMD is like the most atrocious sounding thing ever.
So you basically need a new CPU cooler.
Yeah, which they're kind of linked, so that's what I'm writing. Other than that, I played the Minecraft RTX beta, which we talked about. A little Beat Saber, not a whole lot. I jumped into No Man's Sky to try out the mechs, and I didn't play that in VR yet. But I did the mech stuff. That's good. Good stuff. And that's about it. I mean, I downloaded Mass Effect Andromeda to give it another shot, and I played it for like literally 5 minutes, and I was like, I don't think I can do this. And that's where I'm at. I downloaded Warzone. Didn't try it yet, though. I'm kind of like literally fucking throwing shit at the wall.
Yeah, that's a real big shit at the wall, too. That's like a 200 gig download.
Yeah, it was pretty sizable. I haven't opened it yet. I haven't tried it.
I mean, I just know you won't like it, but hey, give it a shot. You never know.
You never know. I don't know. I really want a good single player game, but they don't really exist right now.
I'll tell you what. I got some keys sitting on my computer right now of just games from Humble Bundles past. I'll show you after if there's anything that strikes your fancy. It's all keys that I already have a copy of, so they're just my spares. So it's not like I give a shit if you take one or not.
Yeah.
But maybe something will... I don't remember what's in there, but maybe something will trigger you and be like, no, at least try it,
We shall see. And then, like, that's going forward. I'm probably going to dabble into the racing stuff, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
That's true. You do have that as always an option, a set of Corsa or whatever you choose.
Gonna start running this week.
Project.
That's a part of the goal.
Oh,
don't
boy.
want to, jinx it, but I have a plan, schedule. Bought some running shoes.
All right, then.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Let's just hope this random snow shit stops then.
Yeah, I mean, well, the rate it's been going, snow in the morning, melts by fucking noon, and
That's true. And it's still
at least in Whitesboro, I know it might be different.
it does here too. And then maybe it's only 45 here.
Yeah,
But yeah, it does.
that's my life.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Where are you at?
The huge, as the kids say. We skipped zombies this week, at least for now. Unless we play Sunday, we probably won't play. It's been a show, MLB The Show time. It's been an Animal Crossing time. It's been I've played a little bit more Doom. I played one more level, and I forget. Those levels are so unbelievably long, so I'm kind of like, I know when I sit down to play, I can stop at checkpoints during them, but like I want to play the level, so I have to sit down and play. The last time I played kind of gave me a little bit of a headache, though, so I needed to step away after that. World of Warcraft is always in there. Magic the Gathering Arena on the PC, it just dropped its new season, and I started playing that just to mess around with, give myself basically playing that when I'm waiting for other things to get done, because it's quick and something else to do.
Mm-hmm.
Played a little Totally Reliable Delivery Service with two of our friends, and that was fun. Hard to keep them on track delivering packages, though, I'll tell you that. We maybe delivered 3. And the rest of it was just like, let's just goof off, apparently. And I was like, no, we need to deliver packages. 3 is probably short, maybe 5.
Is there? I mean, is the idea to progress through the map?
No, because you can go to any of them at any point.
So
It's the idea would be
it's like high scores.
It's high scores, but there is bronze, silver, gold. So ideally, you want to get gold on all of them, and there are a set number like per location. So it's like 0 out of 9 going into this location. So you want to get all 9 of those done, type of thing. Like you'd want to complete the map.
Mm-hmm.
But instead we just drove around and flew around and crashed and blew up and did a bunch of things. I drove a truck the majority of the time, not gonna lie. So for me saying it's hard to keep them on track, I literally drove a truck around and honked and tried to crash into every single thing I could. It was a fun time.
That's all that matters.
And I think that's it, basically. It's been, work stuff. Oh, keeping up Westworld. Lego Masters is over. I watched all the stuff from that. Pretty good finale, I think. And, I'm going on to episode 3 of the devs. Oh, sorry. Episode 3 of devs. So, we'll see how that goes. Yes.
Still playing it?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes. I have it on the phone, and sometimes, but because I'm not at work, like I'm at home now, I have access to my other stuff. Like I might have played Gwent. Like, hey, I'm gonna hit the bathroom. I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna play a little game of Gwent. Or hey, I gotta go do this update, but like at a desk or something.
Uh-huh.
So while that's running, maybe I'll play a game of Gwent or something. But for when I'm at home and have access to all my other stuff, it's there. I don't play mobile games while I'm home usually.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of been a thing. He's like, even going to the, I go to the bathroom at home. Yeah, but I might quick browse the internet, and then I'm right back to having my computers and stuff that are much larger to browse the internet on. So my phone becomes Snapchat and texting when I'm home, or looking up like websites to order food on really fast. Like, hey, I need a menu, like the pizza tonight. But
it's cute that you still socialize with people.
It defines still socialize with people.
If you meet people.
Here's the thing though. I'm not talking to anybody that I wasn't talking to before this. So it's just the same group. Don't you call me out on that, because
No, I was just gonna say I'm not like the statement still stands. I don't.
The statement
I'm
might
saying
still
in
stand
general, not
this,
necessarily related to quarantine.
Oh, okay.
Just in general.
I was gonna say because that statement can stand between the two of us, yes. But I also know that of one person you have told me about that has kept not you specifically, but your house busy with phone calls and things.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, people still socialize. I did have the moment where this week I was messaging back and forth with one of my coworkers because we were just trying to like problem solve a little bit. And I finally just said, screw this. I picked up my phone and called him. And I was like, I'm sick of typing. I'm honestly losing my mind at typing. So I'm just going to talk to you over the phone. He's like, all right, sounds good. And we talked for like 45 minutes just about work and bullshit and like the mandate that came out that's like, staying home got extended to April 15th, stuff like that. But it was nice to just once again have a conversation that was different than everybody else that I've already been talking to. Like I always talk to you, or I always talk to Todd or Evil or whatever. It was like, let's just mix it up and throw like a little spice in the mix or something. There's just somebody that's different. But yeah, it's been a thing. It's been a time. Still pushing, chugging away on that baseball book and getting more and more interesting every time.
Yeah.
That's really all I got.
I don't got anything more.
I bought a soda stream because I like fizzy beverages.
Yeah, seems to work well.
Once you figure out the amount of pumps you need, you trimmed my neck for me.
Yep, the little haircutty. Cutty.
Which was...
He's looking like caveman. He's got a big bushy beard.
I got a big bushy beard. I got a flowy head.
Mm-hmm.
It was just that I needed the neck trimmed because it was getting too far, and Matt hooked me up and gave me a little trim. Stepped into the bathroom, zipped it off, and I was like, oh, God, I have memories because this is where Mom used to do the haircuts when I was a kid. And I hated them, by the way. Love my mother, but I just couldn't sit. I hated sitting still. Put it this way. I hated sitting still if it was against my own volition.
Yeah.
And haircuts usually were never like, oh, yeah, I want to go get my haircut. Or, oh, hey, I want to learn how to play piano. I was like, no, I want to sit in front of my computer and do whatever I want, which is nothing, and I just sit in front of my computer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would always just I'd be a snobby little boy. I just don't give a shit to get my hair. Oh, my God, can you hurry up already? No, I was a piece of shit. But hey.
Kids, that's how they are. We're all like that.
It's over. Now I'm like, oh, I gotta get my haircut. I need to get my haircut, and I just go leave. But now it's just like, all right, well, quarantine, so we'll see how bad this comes out at the end.
We'll see. Gets longer. Every month.
That's true. I didn't look at what my date was, but I'm definitely over a month. I normally go 3 weeks-ish between haircuts. Mm-hmm. I'm clearly way past that. We'll see what 2 months looks like. I can't wait till I walk back into my hairdresser at some point. I'm like, whoo, this is bad.
Last time I got my haircut was before I went.
Before you ditched me. So that's before Valentine's Day.
Yep. So it's been a bit.
That's been a hot minute. I'm just gonna for the end of our conversation here. Let me just take a quick look and see if I can figure out when the last time I did that was.
Salons and hair people, they're going to be booming business when we finally
February 25th was my haircut. So I am almost at 2 months. Yeah, we're getting there. You still got me by a bit, and technically you always will until you'll get your hair cut again. If we just keep going,
want some late news entries?
We can have a couple quick late news entries to end this on. Give me headlines only.
Cyberpunk 2077 Xbox One X will come out ahead of the game in June, and it looks like that.
Oh, a Cyberpunk console skin. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that game is not coming out in June. All right, so cool console. Cyberpunk 2077 Xbox One X console. Cool looking thing is going to come out in June. All right. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. We shall see you guys in 7 days as Matt bows out of this conversation. So, bye-bye.